Munch for the House. It's your boy Munch Lax Attacks, and boy, howdy do we have an episode for you today. I am going over. This is the first edition of Rob's Reviews. Now, spoiler warning, we're going over the first two episodes of season 7 of Rick and Morty. We got no photos in reference, so you're just gonna look at Munchlax the whole time. But spoiler alert for any of the new information or plots either of the episodes. But we got information on the first two episodes, and that's what I'm going to be talking about today. Now, the first episode of season 7 of Rick and Morty, how Rick got his poop back, or some shenanigans. Either way, it's about Mr. Poopy Butthole, how Mr. Poopy Butthole got his butthole back, or whatever. Like I said, it's about Mr. Poopy Butthole picking himself up from the losses he's reached in life. He hits rock bottom. He loses his wife and kids. He gets addicted to painkillers and whatnot. He breaks both his legs, and this is let me remind you, this is all stemming from that season, that episode where Beth shot Mr. Poopy Butthole, almost killing him, spiraling him towards opioid / pain medication addiction. Now, in the first episode of season 7 of Rick and Morty is about Mr. Poopy Butthole. Basically, he's getting an intervention. Rick points out that interventions don't work, and it's not an intervention. But honestly, before I get too much into it, I'd like to talk about the voices for Rick and Morty, and the drama behind it. Now, Justin Roiland had he's one of the co-creators of Rick and Morty, along with Dan Harmon, who co-created Rick and Morty. And there's been drama brewing in between the scenes. So much to the point where they basically fired Justin Roiland as the voice actor for all the characters. So not only both main characters of Rick and Morty, the voice actor is being replaced, but also Mr. Poopy Butthole. So I felt it was a brave choice to have yet another Justin Roiland replaced voice actor be predominantly like the main character in the first episode of the new season with the new voice actor. I thought that was a big risk move, but in all honesty, it really it's good. It's good. It makes up for it. You watch the episode, you watch it in its entirety, and then you watch it again. Regardless as to if you know about all the drama, all the behind-the-scenes drama going on with Justin Roiland, and new voice actors and whatnot. like, you can tell that there's new voice actors for both Rick, Morty, and if you pay close enough attention, Mr. Poopy Butthole. But after watching it through the whole episode, around the end of it, I kind of forgot about, hey, this isn't who regularly voices Rick. So after viewing it a couple times, I really, the concept of someone else voicing these characters kind of flew over my head after a while, which was a big concern for me. Like, I was super worried that these new voices would just sound so different from the norm that it would become an issue. But after watching it at least 3 times, that first episode of season 7, it hardly even bothers me that Rick is voiced by someone else, that Morty is voiced by someone else. But no, season 7, episode 1 is just it's all about Mr. Poopy Butthole, and there is some side information about bird person and bird daughter and the whole canonical shenanigans behind that character and whatnot. There is a reference to a previous episode of Rick and Morty where Gearhead gets his gears shoved in a inappropriate place. Yeah, no. So this episode really, it really nails and hammers down home the ideas of this is what Rick and Morty is. Like, it's the start of a new season. It's the first episode of a new season. But at the same time, it's not being all heavy-handed with the concept of the season finale. Like, it's not all about Evil Rick or Rick Prime or whatever you want to call him. It's mentioned, though. Needless to say, it is mentioned, though. Rick Prime is mentioned, but they move on really well in the transition from, like, oh, hey, something really big and important happened, to, hey, let's go through a whole new episode. Classic Rick and Morty adventures. Like, I feel like it does that very seamlessly in the first episode of the new season. So we have a fun time delving into the backstory of Mr. Poopy Butthole, who is trying to get his child, because he's going through a very tough divorce with Mrs. Poopy Butthole. But no, he hires a predator from Predator to Predator on his wife, but then the Predator ends up falling in love with his wife, and it's a whole thing. It doesn't sound good when I say it, but if you watch it, it's good stuff. Good stuff. So, all in all, I really enjoyed the first new episode of Rick and Morty, season 7, episode 1. I really enjoyed it. It was fun. It was both, like, leading into, like, information from the season finale of season 6 and giving me just the right amount of information on Rick Prime and all that noise. Like, oh, uh, Rick said to Morty, yeah, no, that all just happened, and you just missed it. It was a big fight. No, I'm ready to wait for it. Like, episode number 1, like that was a perfect transition into the new era of Rick and Morty, I would like to call it. I like to think that season 7 is a new era, the era of Justin Roiland Bliss voice acting. But either way, no, I'm loving Rick and Morty, and I am really loving where it's headed. Which brings me to episode 2 of season 7. Alright, so the beginning of season 7, episode 2 begins with Jerry. Jerry is having a whole situation with Gene, the neighbor, who is getting so much more attention than I thought he would ever get, by the way. He was heavily in the first episode. There was so much about the first episode I didn't get into, but I'm not gonna. Because, it's just a lot. But either way. So, episode 2 starts off with, Jerry's coming to Rick about a rake problem. He said that Gene borrowed his rake or something or another, and then Jerry comes at Rick saying, if I had your brain, I'd use it properly. And then Rick retorts with, when I was born, I didn't come out a genius. I came out pissing and crying like the rest of you. Basically, saying that he can't blame his failures on birth and whatnot and what he was born with. But so Rick puts his mind in Jerry's brain and Jerry's brain in Rick's mind and whatnot. And the moment Rick's brain reaches Jerry's mind, he unalives himself. So then the computer's trying to figure out how to put the mind back together with the brain because they're all swish swap. And there's this whole B story about Morty getting kidnapped by this crime syndicate. It's supposed to be a whole what's it called with the dog? It's yeah. That movie starring I'm blanking on every aspect of this movie and the actor. But no, it's supposed to be a parody of the movie where the assassin guy's dog gets killed and the car gets jacked up. John Wick, Jesus Grimace, that's what it was. So the B story is a parody of John Wick, where Morty is basically the dog, i.e., or the car that gets taken. So in the A story, Rick's mind. So they basically get split in half in each body. So there's a Jerry body with half Rick, half Jerry, and vice versa. And you know what? It's honestly, it's a fun time. It really is. Like, seeing a Rick version of Jerry it's just fun, you know? Because you don't expect to see Jerry talk and act like that, but when he's got like basically half of Rick's brain embedded in him, you know, he stands up for himself. It's a good time and it's funny. The episode in a whole, I'd give it an 8.5 out of 10. One thing I'd like to point out is how everyone is so accepting of the new voices. People are so accepting of the Morty voice. They're like, oh, the Morty voice is spot on. Honestly, in this episode, the Morty voice kind of bothered me. Like the transition from one more voice of Morty to another was difficult in this episode. In the second episode, I had a bit of trouble transitioning to the new Morty voice. Like I said in the last episode, the Rick voice it's easy to get used to. Like, that voice just kind of, no matter how unlike the original it sounds like, which is not very often, mind you, I truly enjoy the new Rick voice more than I do the new Morty voice. Like, it rings in the ear every time Morty's voice is going on, and I'm like, that's not the Morty voice. That was my main concern about new episodes of Rick and Morty, that I wouldn't be able to deal or cope with the new voices. And in all honesty, the Rick voice is just fine. We're 2 episodes in, and I have no problems. But the Morty voice, I'm not talking down on it. The Morty voice, it could be better. That's all I'm saying. Like, there wasn't a lot of Morty in the first episode, alright? I get that. That's fine. But there's more Morty voice in the second episode, and every time there's a Morty voice, it just sounds off. You know? It just doesn't sound right. All in all, I'm loving it. I'm loving everything they're coming out with. I'm loving with each episode. Each new episode they come out with, I'm enjoying. And I really want them to keep it up. And we'll be back in 2 weeks. 2 weeks we'll be back in Rob's Reviews to review the next 2 episodes of Rick and Morty Season 7, Episodes 3 and 4. But no, both episodes, episode 1 of Season 7, 8.5 out of 10. Episode 2 of episode 7, I'll give it another 8.5. You know, give me something great. Give me a banger, and I'll give you a 10. Give me a 10er. Either way, at the end of the day, I'm loving these new episodes of Rick and Morty. Dan Harmon is, he's doing good work. And all the writers are doing great. And I appreciate them and all the hard work they're putting in. All right, this is Munchlax Attack signing off on Rob's Reviews. Make sure to like, comment down below, and subscribe.